Hey everybody, welcome to VWG. I have a very special guest, magician here with me, Ian Batterbury, also known as Magic Ian.
Now, have you figured out why the significance of Magic Ian?
No.
If you put the words magic and Ian into a single word, what do you get?
Oh yeah, magician, I get
There you
it.
go. It is amazing how many people don't get that. I will start my shows announcing my name is Ian. I do magic. You put the words together, you get the word magician, and people go, ooh. And I'm like, I haven't done anything yet.
That's very funny. I should have known, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, who are some of your inspirations?
Well, I mean, I first started loving magic when I was 8. As a kid, I loved watching guys like Doug Henning because he kind of broke the box of what was the norm was. Up until Doug, not to mention he was Canadian, so that was kind of cool. But
Hmm.
up until Doug, there was a stereotyped magicians, the guys that came out in the suit jacket and tux and all such things, and there was a formula to what was done. And I remember watching the Doug Henning specials as a kid, and he did it different. He pretended to let the audience in on the secret. There's a lot of routines where he'd be like, let me turn it around. Let's turn around the cutting a person in half and pretend to reveal stuff. Still wasn't, but it was that whole kind of pulling the rug out while trying to let the audience in on it. So I love that kind of spirit. I love his whimsical spirit. Modern guys, there's some amazing ones. I love watching Shin Lim, who
Oh
was
yes.
King of America's Got Talent. Got to see him last year in Vegas, and he was amazing.
Wow.
And we've got our own Canadian guy, Sean Farquhar, out on the West Coast, who's amazing, and I love watching him, and I do some of his routines. So there's a lot of current giants that I really, really enjoy. Not the normal ones necessarily, but certainly early on, Doug Henning was an inspiration, and now there's a few of them both on both sides of the border that are really, really great.
Oh yes, definitely. I loved watching Shin Lim.
Oh yeah.
Now, you said you started magic when you were 8. Were you always into magic
No,
or
I should say I loved Magic at 8. As a kid, I loved riddles. I was a kid always initially solving riddles, going to the library to get more riddle books, and then the logic problems, the things of a plane crashes on one side, in the center of the border, things like that. When I was 8, I was at the Canadian National Exhibition, and I was a kid called up on stage to a magician who did the
Oh,
linking rings and had no idea how it was done and loved it. When I was 12, I started learning magic because I wanted to be in on the riddle, on the puzzle. And by the time I was 15, I was performing. When I was 17, I got an agent, and I've been doing it ever since. So over 40 years, over 7,000 shows.
wow,
Thank
congratulations.
you.
What is one of your most famous or well-known tricks or performances people ask you to do?
Um, There's different ones. What I tend to do, because I'm part of a very large magic community, we have a really vibrant magic community in Canada, but especially in Toronto. And I kind of fellowship with a lot of other magicians. What I tend to do is take traditional routines and put my own spin on them.
Mm.
I do a lot of shows performing with other magicians. And one of the things that happens is you create a group chat before one. I do a monthly show at Second City, Toronto, where I also produce it, but it's me and a performing friend named Rob Fishbaum, and we bring in a guest performer. But beforehand, there's a whole group chat where it's, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because I don't want to do what you're going to do. Are you going to
Mm.
do Rubik's Cube?
Hmm.
I don't really generally have that issue because I tend to do stuff that is very unique to me for the most part. I do escape shackles, where you're shackled in and the curtain is lifted up, but I do it with a comedic approach where I'm indicating I need to get out in 60 seconds. Timers are done, music is run, but in between, I'm getting in and out of the shackles repeatedly all throughout the act, acting as if I don't realize it. And then the last few moments, I'm still shackled, and there's like a 3 second countdown, and within 1 second, I'm free of the shackles. I actually have the shackles here. That's a fun one. That's more traditional. But I also developed my own routines. There's one that we created back in May, and we perform monthly at Second City. That's a lot of fun. That involves my cohort, Rob, dressing up in a sexy nurse costume, but it's a
Oh.
effect that seems to go wrong. I'm a big fan of what you call false fail routines, where halfway through it looks like we've messed it up, and then you find out we were in control the whole time. I do a lot of so things like that. I do one called 1 in 10 billion, where I write down a number between 1 and 10 billion, and it's a very big number. And essentially, we get someone up on stage with a calculator, and they get numbers from different people on the stage, a month that they're born, a year that they're born, random 4-digit number. They multiply them, and that gives them a total, and that total matches my prediction. So that's my own take on a prediction routine, but that one gets a lot of positive response too.
Wow. You must have like telekinesis or something.
It's all a trick, but it's a good,
Yes.
and the key
Yes.
is to not let people know the trick. And that's what we find. I get asked whether or not I believe magic is real. My answer has always been the same for many, many years. Yes, but it's not what we do. It's what is created in the mind of an
Yeah.
audience member who sits there and believes that anything is possible, opens their minds to, hope. And that's why I enjoy what I do. So I tend to do, in the last few years, I've redirected a lot of my efforts towards comedy magic and mentalism. But I like things that will make people laugh at the same time that they're going, what on earth just happened?
Yeah, I love comedic stuff like that. Now, as you mentioned previously, you performed with some magicians.
Yes.
Which magicians have you performed with? And
Oh my
well,
goodness.
famous magicians have you performed with? If or do you want to perform with any famous magicians?
I've met a lot of famous magicians. Last year, I got the privilege of going down to what's called Magic Live in Las Vegas. It's where one of the largest magic conventions, about 1,400 magicians converge on a single.
Wow.
And we spend 4 days just learning and seminars and seeing the big names and shows. But you also get to kind of hang around some of the big names. So during that time, I met Penn and Teller. I met Shinlim a number of times, had my picture taken with him a bunch of times, literally just
Wow.
hanging around in a casino.
Wow.
Jeff McBride, a lot of big, big, big guys. David Blaine, and they're all just there to hang around with other magicians, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, I bet it is. I bet it is. Now, you've been mentioning this Second City show called Magic Guys. What is Magic Guys about?
Full name is Magic Guys at Work. So a year and a half ago, there's another series of shows produced by another producer that puts magicians together in places like Rec Room Toronto and things like that.
Mhm.
And I was asked to fill in for a magician for that and performed with who has become a good friend of mine, Rob Fishbaum, who goes by the professional name Fish the Magician. He's literally got a
Ooh.
second city, a solo second city show. Yeah, second city show. And he and I became very, very good friends. So we started performing other venues, and I branded our show called Magic Guys at Work. I introduce it that, people are here on a Saturday night or a Friday night, and you're out to have a good time. You're out to see a show, you've paid for a ticket. We're at our job. We are literally at work at this moment, but we love our job. And
Hmm.
a lot of my show is about creating connections with the audience, and we talk about that. So that's where the name Magic Guys at Work came, and we've done shows up in Keswick and Alliston at Circle Theatre and different places like that. So in February, after a couple months of convincing, I managed to get us into Second City, Toronto, performing in the legendary John Candy Box Theatre, which was such a bucket list. And of the three theaters at Second City, and I love giving this quick little plug, this John Candy Box Theater is the smallest one. It holds about 60, 65 people, but it's the only one that took the original stage from Second City Fire Hall, and they built that stage into the new stage. So I always explain to people when you're coming up as volunteers, because we use a lot of volunteers, you are walking the same stage as Rick Moranis, John Candy, Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy. I mean, giants of
Hmm.
Canada that got their start on that very floor. And I think that's amazing. So we started doing that show. First one sold out. And since then, we started doing the monthly So it's Magic Guys at Work, and then each show has a different subtitle based on who our guest
Oh,
performer.
so like a theme kind of.
Yes. So, like last month in August, we had a performer, Rob Driscoll, who is amazing from Ottawa. But he's going to kill me if I say Ottawa, Kingston. But he's also known for being completely insane. So we literally called it. Oh, now I'm trying to remember now. The ads literally had all three of us in straight jackets, things like that. And then the Matt DeCero show. Matt is known for a signature routine involving a rubber chicken. Uh, Literally has been on magazine covers naked, except for a full bed of rubber chickens and other ones strategically placed. So I've named that show Foul Play, spelled Fowl. And the ad shows a big rubber chicken on stage.
Wow, wow. That's really cool. So you said you've been performing for 40 years almost, or
No, now 41 years. Since I was 15 years old, I'm 56 now. So 41 years.
hmm. Did you do something special for your 40th magic anniversary?
No, no, I haven't really done that. I mean, there's a 30th and 20th and all such things. And I don't think I could go back and look at the actual first date that I performed. I remember it was for a small summer camp. But I mean, 15 years old. And like I said, then really the professional hit when I was 17 and had an agent starting to get me shows. And, minimum wage back then was like $3. And
Wow.
agent who had an ad in the Toronto Sun saying he was looking for entertainers. I called him, we spoke, and 2 weeks later, we never even met. And 2 weeks later, he's like, "Hey, there's this children's party. I'll pay you $70, which back then was like a week's wage." And I'm like, "Yeah." And I took the bus and went and did the show, and that just carried on. So for most of my last 40 years, I was focused on private shows, doing, family events, children's events, things like that. It's only in the last 3 years that I've really taken the public spotlight and
Ah,
performed some good theaters. Performed whenever I go on vacation. I've performed last summer in a resort in Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica. And when I was at Magic Live, I was asked to perform at something called the Prestige World Theater with a few other magicians, and we got to do a fun show there where we all did a short 20-minute set.
oh wow, wow. Now that's magic, people. Is there anything you want to ask me?
Well, I mean, you've expressed that you're a fan of magic, so I mean, what types of things fascinate you the most? Because um, magic can take different forms. I mean, you've got
Mm,
guys who do illusions. I don't do any grand illusions. I don't do
mm.
person in half. Well, I do a version, but it involves tying two handkerchiefs together, tucking them behind someone's belt, and you say you're going to cut them in half by pulling them through, and instead the handkerchiefs come back out the front with their underwear tied between. Um,
That's
but
funny.
a lot of what I do is takes on mentalism with a little bit of a humor. Things like, you want an example?
Okay, sure.
All right, okay. So there you have a prediction board. It's got to be in front of me because of my green screen. What I have actually on the side is, and I don't want you to pick a favorite one because you look like you might be a Swiftie. So I've got 10 different celebrities that are all represented on the front of the envelope. All I want you to do is pick a number from 1 to 10.
6.
6. Okay. So if you're turning this around, I want to make sure. Can you read that okay?
Yes, 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 yes.
So you've got Taylor Swift, Johnny Depp, Will Smith, Emma Watson, Michael Jordan. Wait a second. No, that's right. That's right. Okay. So you've got, Tom Cruise, Rihanna, Justin Bieber, who I've actually met. I did a show for him.
Wow.
Brad Pitt and Shakira. So number 6 is Tom Cruise. Now, that I actually knew you were going to pick because I have a prediction in here that proves that absolutely I knew you were going to pick Tom Cruise. Now, you don't know that from there, but it's actually revealed right there because that's Tom Cruise.
Oh, that's Tom Cruise as a baby?
Yeah, well, you'd think so, right? But of course, some people are doubtful. So what I like to do is tell them that if you were to actually take the fast forward button and you just press the fast forward button 3 times, 1, 2, 3, it fast forwards the time, and you do in fact end up with.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. That's really cool. Wow,
So
wow.
things like that. That's again a false fail where you pull a picture of baby and people are like, "Oh, that could be anybody," and then they press the button. You do that in person, And of course, then it really is whoever it is that they had picked. So things like that,
Wow.
goes one direction and then you throw it the other.
Hmm. Well, to me, I like, as I mentioned, close-up magic because I like watching, visuals, like when the smoke, sometimes comes.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like being shocked. Like, well, I'm sure everyone likes being shocked, but sometimes I like magicians where they like, how do you put it? They give you something and then they kind of
Well,
like what you do in a way.
okay. Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to bring up. I don't. I think this might work over uh, our Zoom, and I can probably do something directly to you in the form of a mentalism routine. Let me just check here. If I bring up,
You can share your screen if that's what you're referring to.
well, no, can if I bring that in close, are you able to see those?
Uh,
Worry.
the green screen is covering.
The green
It's
screen is covered. If that, and that's in front of me. If I come in close, a
uh
little hard to see.
actually, yeah, a little hard, but I can see the
You can't actually see the names. Okay, we'll leave that one. Let's try this. Because I started off with sleight of hand. So I don't know if you're familiar with this. This is a fairly standard one. I do a little bit of version. Most magicians are known for doing sleight of hand. I do something a little bit different. I described during my family shows that what I do is sleight of mouth. That's being able to take something, and most magicians would be able to take something, put it into their hand. How do you guess which hand it's in?
yeah,
That would be sleight of hand.
yeah.
You would say this hand or this hand, but I don't put it in the hand. I sleight of mouth. So that's a little bit different. Things like that. In the way of card tricks. Let's see again. If I were to fan those, yeah, those you can see. Okay.
Yes.
So here's what I want you to do, Graham. I want you to imagine that you have an invisible deck of cards.
Okay.
You're going to shuffle those cards. All right. Good job. Take a look at your deck. See what your top card is. Got it?
Yes.
Turn it upside down. Okay, put it back in the deck so it's upside down inside the deck. So you have an invisible deck. In your deck, you have one card turned upside down. Okay, I want you to go ahead. I'm going to keep this inside of the camera the whole time. There we go, right there. What card did you turn upside down?
The King of Spades.
The King of Spades. You're certain of that?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start to fan these cards, and you tell me if you see the King of Spades. I'm going to go on through. Or if as I go through, if you happen to see a card turned upside, did you
Oh,
see?
yeah, yeah,
Down?
that card is upside down.
One card turned upside down. You turned a card upside down, and that card was. Oh, wait a second. That was the King of Hearts. Oh, but the next one is the King of Spades.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's the one card turned upside down. So any card that you mention is the only one that will be turned upside down. So that's a classic trick of magic. So yeah, you can do that in a live show. There's variations on it where you can throw out a deck a real deck, have someone shuffle, turn one card upside down. It will match the card that I turn upside down.
Hmm.
Things like that.
Wow. Okay, is there anything else you want to ask me before I
That's what I've got. So I mean, like I said, is for people if they want to find out more about me or about our shows. I encourage people to follow my Instagram because I've been around so long. I get the good name. So my Instagram is just Magician Toronto. And my website is actually magiciantoronto.ca.
Okay, great. I'll make sure to link everything in the description down below. Thanks so much,
Thank you
magician.
so much. Pleasure talking to you. You take care.
I will. You too.